Last week on All MMO Children.
We get up to one of the bosses, and we're just about to pull the boss, okay? My wife walks in the room. I look over at her. She's holding a pregnancy test. I have to decide, okay? My wife, with some fairly important news.
Right.
Or my guildmates.
You're a holy priest?
Yes.
And now...
So what did you choose?
Well, I had to heal through the fight. I mean, what am I gonna do, leave them?
But you got kids now.
Yeah, I got kids now. I mean, as we heard earlier.
I'm so sorry.
That was a little anticlimactic.
Auto assault. Auto assault. Look at that. Look at that. I still got it. I'm sorry. I like this game.
The game that barely was.
The game that barely was.
That would be the Matrix Online.
No, man.
For you?
I played the Matrix Online for work, and I should have taken the blue pill.
Just stayed in.
There's all these people that are trying to be WoW killers. Well, not as much, but people are still trying to carve out that.
I just think we need to get rid of that phrase of WoW killers or WoW clones.
Or Halo killer, Call of Duty killer.
I understand it exists.
Anything killer
I understand
is
it
dumb.
exists, but it's like I do get tired of hearing people comparing to WoW because it's not like WoW did stuff
But I'm
first.
It just did it in a particular
really
way.
well.
There's a reason Blizzard
yeah,
hires psychologists to make their games addictive. I'm just curious if there's like a general malaise right now for MMOs. I mean,
I don't know.
In general.
You mean for players or for developers?
For people who have played them a bit, and obviously like younger people growing up, they're playing Club Penguin and stuff. They're playing all those gamification, or the Farmvilles and stuff. They're only a couple steps removed from the core mechanics of the interactive spreadsheet that is most MMOs. So I'm just curious if it's kind of built up into like the unconsciousness.
But here's the thing: do you consider DayZ and Minecraft MMOs?
I do. And I think you don't.
But I don't think. But I don't think the general community
just...
can list like if someone looked up a list of MMOs. I don't think people
I'm
would
talking about
automatically
the bigger
put...
ones though.
You know, for like Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn is super traditional. It does a lot of things really well, but I'm surprised at how well it's doing. It's certainly not the eclipse that World of Warcraft was, but 1.8 million players now, when you sort of say that malaise is going on, I think is really impressive.
The Final Fantasy name carries a lot of weight. I know a lot of people whose first MMO was Final Fantasy XI, just because of that. It's an MMO and it's Final Fantasy. Those are two, I've always wanted to try the MMO. I've always enjoyed the Final Fantasy. Let's try that taste together. And I think that still carries on today.
I think a lot of us had the same reaction when SWTOR came out.
Yeah, that was going to be my counterpoint. Is I thought the Star Wars name would be bigger than anything.
But everyone enjoyed it. But
we had Galaxies before that.
SWTOR was kind of my point of why I felt like I outgrew it. And we were talking about how MMOs have kind of gotten to a point, at least in my time, where it is a chore. I spend my whole day working. I don't want to spend my whole day at home farming bugs and what it's like. I enjoy the story, but I mean I played smuggler class until I got my ship back, a Wookiee with a life debt, and all the money from my bounty. And I was like, I'm good. I'm only level 20. All right, whatever. And then I'd go check out other classes. Like, the story after that point didn't really compel me because it's like, if I'm the Han Solo character and I have everything Han Solo would want, why do I want to keep leveling this character? And it just felt very weak.
I did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I had a bounty hunter. I got my ship. I got a crew. I got a great job hunting bounties.
Yeah.
I can go anywhere I want. Who cares if my mentor remains unavenged? I saw him for 2 minutes and then he died. Okay? I don't care about the story. I wanted my character was doing great. That's all I cared about.
But
and so I was done. I was finished playing the game.
Sith storyline was
the weird
the best,
endgame thing though. It's like you get the things that you want and then you don't do anything with them. When Patrick was here, he's like, I want this flying mount dragon thing. I want it. And then he got it. And then he flew around a little bit and then he's like, quit, logged off, and log in again.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a little funny that these trophies, that have some sort of utility, no one's really into the utility so much instead of just having the thing to show off.
This is only the beginning. After 1,000 years, welcome home.
I got into being mostly on role-playing servers. That was part of my escape. It was creative writing plus playing a game, but then part of the reason I left City of Heroes after a while, part of the reason I left SWTOR and why I didn't grasp onto things like Age of Conan and, World of Warcraft is because if you get to that point where you're just with your friends or with new people and all you're doing is sitting in a tavern having a conversation, you're paying money to sit in a tavern and have conversation. And sometimes you'll get up and you'll go do an instance and a mission and whatever, but that balance is usually going to work out to be like 70% sitting in a bar chatting on the space station, 30% actually running out doing missions. And then it's like, well, what are you really paying for? You know, and if, you know, like in the case of my guildmates, like we're all friends now. Facebook came out, Twitter, we all know our emails. Some of us can text each other. So it's like, why just talk to them instead of sign up for a subscription fee and head into a game where we just sit in characters and talk through characters' voices. Like that's just what I took out of MMOs, was more the community and the people than the actual like run around, shoot gun, duck.
For a long time, when I started playing Warcraft, I was there for the game, right? And then I joined a guild and I started to get into it, and then they actually kicked me out for not playing enough. And so, yeah, they did, because I was only playing 20 hours a week, and that wasn't enough for them.
There are guilds like that.
I hate.
So I got kicked out. So then it was the story and building up my character, and then I kind of got done with it. And then I joined a guild here at GT, and then it was a completely different experience because it was the social aspect that brought me in. I mean, I would be sitting at home on a Tuesday night, and I'd get a text, "Oh, we're running such and such. We need a healer.
Right.
Can you help us?"
Exactly.
And it's kind of cool to have someone call you up and say, "Hey, we need you. We need you. Help us. Help us, Ben. You're the only one."
It's a really good point that you both bring up, and it's made me think about something that I've never thought before, where MMOs, despite being super social, don't facilitate social activities very well. Like going and clicking on things and pushing the one key, you're like, if you all know your role, you're kind of doing it by yourselves. Like you might talk about it a little bit beforehand, but like any like real human conversations exist kind of outside of the game. And I think maybe that's why Minecraft and DayZ have taken off more than, and you know, MMOs have become kind of stagnant, because in Minecraft you're creating something that's way more social than pulling mobs. In DayZ you can, all right, this is going to sound gross, but you can handcuff somebody and force them to drink bleach, which requires a lot more interaction than, you know, than the typical MMO thing. And I think that's really interesting. Like maybe MMOs need to be more conscious of what draws their players.
No, but then they have raids. But they have
Point back
raids
to
and
WoW.
bosses and
No, but
stuff.
back to WoW. WoW was, except for instances, you could solo almost anything in the non-instance things in WoW.
Yeah.
Right.
While in like Final Fantasy XI, unless you were, I'm gonna get this wrong, Beastmaster, after like level 20, you need to be in a group just to walk around. And I believe EverQuest. I've never touched EverQuest with a 10-foot pole, but I believe really early on to EverQuest, you needed to be in a party to do stuff.
You need a group.
And people didn't like being forced. People liked soloing, you know, and it's WoW just trying to give you that open buffet of giving you everything.
I need the story to be there, because that's kind of where the single-player console games are winning out over MMOs lately. It's just having that reason to make it from level 1 to 60 and back again. And I don't think there's an MMO out there right now that really on a face value goes, hey, look, you're gonna put in like a month's worth of time, but when you get here, it's gonna be really worth it.
And so obviously Hearthstone got you back into WoW, but is there something that you're looking for right now?
This sounds stupid, but I really like exploring worlds. You know, like the games that I get really attached to, like they do a great job of making the areas feel like physical places. And I want an MMO where it's not just a section with mobs, you know.
Yeah.
In World of, like they do some good things in World of Warcraft and other MMOs that sort of make the areas feel different, but eventually, you know, the veil is pulled back and it's like, nope, the monsters are here, I have to go kill them. I want a place to actually feel dangerous. I want a place to feel exciting and different and new. And I don't know what it would take to accomplish that. Like, my dreams are Destiny or something would be able to do that, but I don't know.
Oculus Rift.
There you go, Oculus Rift.
So, got you all here today, but I have to apologize for taking Ricky away from...
I'm missing it.
You're missing it.
Right? What's going on right now?
What is going on right now?
They might beat the Elite Four because they got rid of all their bad moves.
So what were some of the bad moves they had to get rid
like
of?
Whirlwind, like I think that Eevee had a tail whip or something like that, or Espeon, whatever it is now. So they took an hour and a half of democracy and they went to the move deleter and they got rid of that.
We should rewind very, very far back here.
So we're talking about Twitch plays Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's the hip new phenomenon.
Everybody's there.
Well, how many people have you usually are playing at one time, or at least watching?
It was average 60 to 80,000 for 2 weeks. The finale was 100, and then it's after the finale, it just dropped because everyone was just so stressed out from it. But it was 80,000 average for like 2 weeks.
And this was the original, so they played, which one did they play?
They played,
Red or...
I think they play Red, but they may have played a hacked version where all of them are there, but essentially Red version.
Okay, so they played the Red version in which people on Twitch could put in different like codes and things like that.
They could put an up, down, left, right, A, B, start, and the ROM would read that and turn it into button presses.
Just to be clear, like 80,000 on Twitch is crazy.
Yeah. Right.
We're happy to get over 1,000.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, people were posting. The thing that got me, people were posting images of what it would look like if this took place, like as a live event. So think of any college football stadium and fill it to capacity.
Okay.
Now put one Game Boy with a giant screen. And everyone has those like America's Funniest Home Video like button things.
Nice, yeah. That's a good analogy. That's really good.
It's like burning them. Like people were leaving the stadium and coming in like in different sleep cycles, and it went on for like 2 weeks.
To me, Twitch Plays Pokemon is just like a mass of goodwill against a mass of trolls.
Right.
Yeah.
And just this
Trolls
tug of war.
chaos.
Yeah.
Right.
But the tug of war.
But you thought that's what it was going to be.
And then it pushed forward much faster than I thought.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like,
which is what I love about it. I'm not a positive person. We all know this. I mean, I take Rust Cole's nihilism to an nth degree, but it was such it's an incredible, enlightening thing of seeing people working towards the general good. Because I mean, it's like in the percentage of folks trying to make bad moves was. Even in anarchy mode was so much less to some extent than those trying to do the right thing, trying to move the character forward.
Right. What's interesting is like, let's say 80 to 60% of the people were doing the right thing, and 20 to 30% were either messing up or like just trying to blame it. There was a guy a couple days after he ended it, figured out his stream delay was a minute.
Oh, so every time he was putting an order in, it was always a minute beyond.
And he was putting in orders the entire time.
Oh,
he said he was so sorry. So that's the chaos part of it.
People playing this game, there is a story, there is a mythology, there's almost a religion that is sprung up.
Praise Helix.
Which is the other cool thing about it, yeah.
Praise Helix indeed.
So it started when they got the Helix fossil at Mount Moon. And just through chaos, they ended up throwing away all their other items. So Helix Fossil got moved to the top of their item list. So it was constantly trying to be selected during battles, in caves, like randomly. And so it became, we must consult the Helix Fossil for what to do next. The Helix Fossil knows all, save us Helix Fossil. And eventually it became a religion because the Helix Fossil was always...
You love it. You laugh.
I know. I think it's fantastic. It is literally watching man crawl out of darkness in a weird way. It's like they're forming their own, Greek or Roman mythology. This entire god system came into play, and then there was the really cool map thing of showing the adventure that had like all the different branches of the directions they were moving. It literally became like their history. I mean, it's this entire encased history of how names were created and how everything came about, and that's so fucking fascinating.
And we have the false prophet, which was the fire Eevee.
Yeah, because Eevee was supposed to become Vaporeon, and you were supposed to teach her Surf, and she would that's how you would have for the rest of the game. She didn't become Vaporeon. She became the Devil, aka Flareon, and two of their major Pokemon, including their starter, were released around the same time that happened. So the Flareon was the devil and the companion of the Dome, which is the antithesis to the Helix Fossil.
And it's so weird. It's like, it's all jokey.
Yeah.
But we all love it in the way that just like humans love. I mean, religions exist to make sense of like this
organize,
equally chaotic world that we live in.
To organize our thoughts and give us kind of like a path to say, okay, this is what's right.
So the stories, the art that's come out of here has been ridiculous. Have you been able to peruse?
Ricky was, and again, Ricky, it's awkward. It's like if this was considered, if this religion formed, Ricky would have been our bishop or our pope,
like a scribe or something.
The scribe of this sect of that religion, and so we would continually check in at his desk to see what was going on, and you would then layeth out thine tales of past, and completely go, well, this happened and this happened, and half the shit I have no idea what you're saying because I don't play Pokemon, which makes makes no sense as to why I'm here then. But but then it's like you'll show us like the latest artwork, and you would show us all the different stuff that people are posting.
Right.
And we became kind of our own weird mini cult in an odd way. You know, our own mini sect of worshippers
the house of Pokemon.
Yeah, the House of Pokemon. We worshipped at the altar, but we didn't partake. We were the one taking in the sermons and then passing on the stories to others who would then come to join us for the next sermon.
The best story, one of the best, happened at the very end was when ATV, All-Terrain Venomoth, defeated Dragonite, and he became Venomoth the Dragon Slayer. And then you went back, and someone posted why he was able to do that. Is because in Gen 1, it's programmed to always use super effective moves if they have it, even if they don't do any damage. So Venomoth was poison, Psychic beats poison, and Dragonite had barrier and agility, which were psychic. So even though they did no damage, the game kept doing those moves, and eventually poison killed the Dragonite.
That's so cool.
And they all have tales like that. Like, Bird Jesus constantly was the last bastion of hope for their team.
But then Bird Jesus also, it's a fluke that Bird Jesus got his name in that way because when the name was entered, it was just random people throwing in keys, right?
Yeah, all the names are totally random.
And there was like JSS was in there or something like that
at the very end.
And then by luck,
yeah,
Bird Jesus actually in an awkward way became one of their saviors.
I don't think this could have happened with any other game. I think Pokemon has so many unique qualities that really just lent themselves to this thing. The way that Pokemon is about capturing monsters and having this particular monster be your monster, I think is so important to why this worked.
Yeah.
You know, if we're all playing Zelda, we're playing the same Link.
Right. It's a strong foundation that has many varieties to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Is it recorded, or is it just like, so is this entire history recorded, or was it just witnessed and that was it?
I believe people have recorded it on their own computers and uploaded it to YouTube.
Okay, so there are chunks out there that exist, but Twitch itself, there's not like
I don't think Twitch records it. I don't think it has the 16 days of footage.
Right, okay.
I realized that this was the first time that this had ever happened, and that it was happening right then. And the other thing I realized was that the chat was such an important part of watching an event. So when I went home, I just turned it on. And when I heard them go into the power plant, the music changed. And I was like, oh shit. They're in the power plant.
Yeah, yeah.
And like 30 minutes later, I was watching the live stream and like the live updates. And I was like, we're in the same room as Zapdos. Zapdos is on the screen. And what they did, they went up to Zapdos. They kind of went around it a little bit. Too intimidated, I guess.
Yeah, scoping it out like this.
Like, all right.
Yeah.
And then they then they went for it. And the chat was it was an anarchy. But everyone watching was so in unison that so very slowly they went down to item, they press A, and they literally went item after item trying to use it. And Oak was like, you can't use that now. And they actually went past Master Ball.
Oh.
And no one was pressing B this whole time?
No.
Wow.
And then they went past it, and they managed to go back up to Master Ball, and they used it. And that's how they caught it. And it was just like, how many people could have pressed B and right and A and ran away from Zapdos? So many, but again, 95% of people are pressing the right button.
Right.
Odds are.
That's a lot of positivity going towards wanting to accomplish a single goal.
Yeah, it was.
That's great.
But the thing that I think demonstrates the best part about Twitch plays and the interactive storytelling was Bloody Sunday, which was when they caught Zapdos, but he got sent to the PC. So they had to use Anarchy to get Zapdos out of the PC because he was so valuable. They lost, I think over the span of 2 to 3 hours, 12 Pokemon. They released 12 Pokemon in that time. 2 of them were in their team. And just the amount of people who were freaking out before they got Zapdos out, it just showed how attached that we had become to these characters and the fact that we made them.
Right.
Not one single person invented Bird Jesus.
Right.
We did. And like Rick Ghastly too. Hilarious nickname. He's still in the daycare. He's like level 60 now. But that was the day that showed like how stricken like people could get from like losing Pokemon that they'd love, which included Farfetch'd, which included Digrat too.
I feel like "Oh Christ" is a good line to end on.
Yeah.
It's so good.
No, I mean appropriate line to end on. Praise Helix.
Praise Helix.
That's the appropriate one.